What's up, YouTube fans? Today we are going to be reviewing the Takara Transformers Leader Class Blaster LG-27. This is a Takara version of the Titan Masters Blaster. Obviously it's got some color differences. I was actually excited to get this because I wanted a Masterpiece Blaster, and to be honest I tried with the KFC transistor and it just wasn't doing it for me. I ended up selling that figure. But I know this isn't a masterpiece, but I feel like Takara is probably not going to make us a masterpiece at this point. If they're making this guy, they dumped some money into the design and, manufacture of this. They're probably not going to make a masterpiece blaster at this point. So I picked up this guy. I think I'm the first reviewer to review this thing. I've tried to find other reviews on this. I can't find any. So I think it's pretty much the same as the Hasbro version, but different coloring. So let's take a look at the box real quick before we open it up. On the back, you've got some product shots, robot mode, deck mode, and then base station mode, which is actually unique for these Titan Masters. These two are getting the base modes, which is actually kind of cool because I do have the Titan Masters Fortress Maximus, and this can combine with that, so that's kind of cool. Maybe we'll try to show that off if I can fit that on my screen. On this side, you got more of a cartoon kind of image of Blaster and his headmaster here in the little pod. On this side, you've got kind of features. It's got actually pretty cool paint job. This is all in Japanese, but it looks like it's talking about features, different features that you get. So yeah, that's about it for the box. Just some warnings on the bottom. It's almost all in Japanese there. Nothing really on the top. Oh, you do have a picture of his headmaster. This really bizarre, I don't know who this is supposed to be. If any of you guys know, you can leave comments in the section below, but I have no clue who this face is supposed to represent. I don't think it's Blaster. I know the mask that comes over top is supposed to be like a G1 Blaster, but I don't know who the headmaster figure is supposed to represent. So let's just get this open here. This came really strangely packed. It was in like a whole bunch of packing peanuts. I'm not really a big fan of packing peanuts. So here you have the instruction manual with actually a really cool design on the cover here. I like that. I actually wish it looked like that. But that's cool. I like that. And then on the back you got product shots. No collector's card for these guys. I'm kind of disappointed. They didn't give me a collector's card. The Hasbro version, they've been giving collector's cards for these guys. But whatever. So that's it for the manual. I'm going to get that out later. And here is the figure. We'll get this out of the box and we'll be right back. I did want to show off this comic in the instructions here. Kind of reminds me of the Leader Class Jetfire comic with kind of weird characters. I don't know who this girl is supposed to be. That was not in the G1 cartoon. And there's other little weird characters that I don't remember ever seeing. I mean, you do have Road Rage here. Where the heck does that come in? And you've got the blue version, which are either the Diaclone or I think that's the Diaclone version. So kind of a weird comic. Obviously I can't read it. It's in Japanese, but yeah, I mean it's neat. I wish I could read it, but it's got lots of different weird characters that I've never seen before. But that's about it for that side. Then you got the instructions on this side. Nice detailed instructions, kind of like their Masterpiece figures. And then on here you've got product shot and the official. I am disappointed there's no card in here, but that's it for the instructions. Okay guys, I got this out of the packaging. There wasn't really anything interesting about the packaging, so normally I take a look at that, but it was very similar to the Leader Class Jetfire. I think that was what, LG-13? Anyway, the packaging is very similar to that, so nothing really to cover there. But yeah, this figure out of the box, it actually really looks kind of cool. The speakers almost feel like, the real speakers, like it has that mesh kind of feel to it. I'm not a big fan of the gaps, you know, the fact that you can see through the whole figure. But overall, it's actually pretty cool looking. It's got some nice detail on the back here. It's got a power button. And they're not actual buttons, it's kind of molded in there, but it's actually pretty cool. Now there are some pieces here, and I believe they go inside, and they just don't come pre-installed. So I don't think this like mounts on the outside or anything. I think this goes on the inside. So I think this is what the outside is going to look like, and I think it looks good. It actually looks pretty cool. And this does fold down, but why would you want that look? Oh, I hit the button accidentally. So the button's up here. It's a little blue button. And so this is one of my complaints with Transistor. When you press the button, it was a very soft opening. Also, it would hit your finger when you opened it. And obviously the buttons aren't down here like they were on the G1 figure, but I really don't care too much. Although they could have put some paint or something to replicate that look. But as far as the figure itself, I like the feel of this, and it's very clicky. You know, you feel like it's a solid mechanism. I don't have any of the tapes, but we do have this little insert here. I think it's supposed to be like a little platform for the headmaster here. Oh, by the way, the headmaster is actually pretty cool. It's got a good amount of detail on it. Kind of reminds me of the Shattered Glass version of... Is it Shattered Glass, or maybe it's just the Diaclone version, but it kind of reminds me of that. You know, he does have a bend at the hips and at the knees. Both feet are one piece. His arms do rotate. I believe they're a ball joint, but they're very, very tight, so they're not moving too much. The head is also on a ball joint, which allows the full head of the figure to also move on a ball joint. Now, just converting him into his headmaster, I don't know what this is. I don't know who this is supposed to be. It's definitely not Blaster. It's something else, but it's actually kind of cool looking. I mean, I think it's a nice head sculpt. There's nothing wrong with it. You know, I actually kind of like it. But yeah, you can take this guy and sort of stick him in here. And then he can ride around on this thing. Another thing that hasn't really been covered in a lot of the reviews is if you want to store this in the cassette tape mode or the cassette deck mode, you can do it. You just have to, it's got to go with the head side down into the little cavern, and then you just sort of stick it in there. But somehow this isn't closing. Oh, here we go. It's kind of tight. Alright, well that does go in there. I don't know, maybe it was a little tight, but... So that's kind of cool. I like that you can put the headmaster in here. You can also mount this thing on here for a little vehicle mode for the guy. I think these are supposed to be boosters. I don't know. It's kind of lame. I wouldn't really use this. I would just put it in as a tape for the tape deck. Also, this gun actually is pretty cool. It's very reminiscent of the G1 blaster gun. I really like the way they designed this. They didn't just copy the other characters' guns. They made its own gun. So that's cool. We'll figure out where these go once we transform this guy. I think it's for base mode. But yeah, that's about it for this mode. There isn't really anything else to show off here. Oh, that's cool too. The bottom actually looks more like a stereo also. So almost from every angle except for maybe here, it looks pretty good. And that's better than I could say for Transistor. Transistor looked like a piece of crap from the back. It just looked awful. And this actually looks better than Transistor. I know it's not a masterpiece, but I'm kind of comparing it to it. Alright guys, so that's it for this the tape deck mode. I have to say I'm a huge fan of this mode. I think it looks great. We're actually going to bring in Soundwave so we can do a little comparison here. So we'll go grab Soundwave. I'll be right back. Alright guys, we've got this Masterpiece Soundwave in his tape deck mode. Actually, I had forgotten how to transform this guy, but this makes me remember how awesome this figure is and why it's the definitive Masterpiece Soundwave. Again, this figure didn't have the greatest backside, but I still believe it's better than Transistor. So comparing these two side by side, they do remind me of the original. I mean, this guy's a little wide, just a tad wide. If he had just made this a little bit smaller, I think he could have passed for a G1 sized blaster, but he's just a little wide here. But they are very comparable. I mean, they look similar. The tape deck size is similar. So I think they nailed it with this guy. The back obviously actually has a cleaner back here. By the way, I forgot to mention this gun mode. This gun can store in tape deck mode. You just kind of stick it in back there, and I like that. I like that they give you storage. Soundwaves was a little more conspicuous, or I don't know, that's not the right word. It was a little more smooth where they stored the weapons, whereas this guy's kind of sticking out of the back, but whatever. I still like the fact that they thought about it. So that is the comparison to Soundwave in tape deck mode. Like I said, the tapes are different, and this does fit in here, but yeah, it's not, doesn't eject. See, it's not really meant for that. But yeah, that's it for the tape deck mode. We'll get this guy transformed into robot mode, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, we're back from transforming, and here is LG-27 in robot mode. And I have to say, this is really, really good. I'm totally impressed by what Takara was able to do for the price point. Actually, it is a little expensive. So the Hasbro version is like, what is it, $50, I think? Don't quote me on that. And this version is $70. I believe I got it for $75. So yeah, it's a little more pricey, but it's about the same price as the leader class Jetfire. So I consider it worthwhile with the paint, accents and kind of the quality they've done here. But there's a few things I want to talk about that I really like. First, let's just do a quick comparison with Masterpiece Soundwave here. Now, obviously it's a little chunkier, right? It does stand about the same height as Masterpiece Soundwave. I mean, I have him in a stance here. I try to have them both. That's one of the things that's great is he's got articulated ankles. This is a little hard to get out of here, but he's got articulated ankles, so you don't get the non-flat-footed stance, which I really like. I like that they thought through that and made accommodations for being able to angle your ankles. So as far as size, very close. Right? They look pretty similar in height. Obviously this guy is way chunkier. His legs are chunkier, his arms are chunky, his head is chunkier. But I feel that this is a pretty good stand-in for a Masterpiece, which is why I bought it in the first place. I wanted a stand-in Masterpiece blaster. My only complaint is the head sculpt. It's not a G1. It's more of a G1 toy blaster face and not a G1 cartoon accurate face. But still pretty happy with what they provided here. And kind of looking from the side, the profiles are also pretty similar. You do have the handle that kind of sticks out, but I think that's the best way to do it. You know, have a handle that kind of folds down. I don't know why Soundwave is kind of leaned over here. Huh. Anyway, I do think that the handle sticks out a little bit, but there had to be a sacrifice somewhere. I don't know what's going on. Soundwave's got a little bit of a bending backwards issue here. But yeah, from the back also, very clean. There's not a lot of other mode kibble here. I mean, you do have these on his arms. I think this comes out in base mode. These little things. But they hide away, and they're not obtrusive. So as far as robot mode is concerned, really very, very close and very similar to the Masterpiece size and style. Now let's take a look at articulation. Articulation is definitely not the same. So you do have rotation here on the arm. You get a nice ratcheted butterfly joint. You also get a ratcheted elbow. It goes about 90. It doesn't go past 90. You also have rotation at the elbow or at the bicep. There's nothing going on with the hand. I mean, it does bend inwards, but the fingers don't open, and he doesn't have any articulation on the arm. On the hand. You can stick his gun in there. I think that looks great. I think that's good enough for a leader class figure. Oh, I don't want to show off his head here, so let's take a look at that. So if you take his helmet off, the headmaster kind of comes off with it because it doesn't really have a secure way of sitting in here. But here is the alternate head. Let's just tuck this back here. And it does, this is another thing. They didn't just stick it back there. They have a panel that folds and hides it. That's very smart, very good, you know, forethought on the design. So here's the other head sculpt. It actually, you know, it doesn't look terrible. You know, it's not ugly. It's just not Blaster. So I don't know. I don't mind it, but for one, it's a little small, and two, who are you? I don't know who you are. If anyone knows, let me know. But I don't know who this is. But it's not bad. You know, it's got some like painted eyes and stuff like that. So for the legs, moving on with articulation here, you do get a nice all the way out, or as Bobby Skullface likes to say, the full Monty here. As far as forward and backwards, you are limited here. They did make a cutout so you could get as far back as possible, but that's about it. And forward, same thing. You're limited by it kind of hits the front here, but that's good enough for me. I don't think I'm gonna go any further than that. You do have a bicep swivel, a ratchet. Oh, by the way, these are all ratcheted. Everything is ratcheted here. No swivel at the knee. And you also have a ankle tilt. We don't have an ankle pivot here, so you can't bend it forward and backwards. So if you're trying to do kind of like a running pose, it's not really going to support something like that. It just goes in and out. Oh, actually, no, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. It does. Wow. So you do get a ratcheted ankle tilt, but because of the transformation, maybe it hinders it a little bit. I don't know if this is supposed to go out as a heel spur. Maybe it is supposed to be a heel spur. I'm not sure. But yeah, you have an ankle tilt and an ankle pivot. So I guess you could get a little bit of a running pose here. Oh, sorry, I was off camera. So yeah, so for a leader class figure, that's a good amount of articulation. I really think they thought it through. Also, this is always an issue with Hasbro figures and some Takara figures is the A stance is not possible because the next ratchet is like, you know, out here. But this one's got plenty. It's got a ratchet in between, so you don't need to worry about having that, you know, too wide of a stance. You can have it like that. So disregard the uneven legs. It is even if you transform it properly. So you take this head out. Let's put it back on, because I'm not a huge fan of the headmaster. But with this on, man, it looks so cool. The blue from the original headmaster shows through. It's got a clear visor here, and that was just such a good idea. They just really thought through the engineering of the head, and you can get some pretty good poses here. I mean, because they gave you a lot of articulation. So yeah, I mean, and this doesn't look up and down; it just rotates because this is because it's coming from the back and it kind of sits on top. It doesn't really have a way to look up and down. The headmaster does look up and down just a tiny bit, but once you put the mask on, you're kind of done with articulation. You can't really do anything with it. They also had a really good thought here. They put this little black piece so that as you tilt the ankle, you got cover. Eventually, you run out of room. But again, really well thought out. You know, nicely designed. And not cheap, you know. I mean, sorry, it is cheap, but it's not cheaply designed. Someone really thought through it, and I like that. I appreciate that. I think this looks really good. I'm having this on my masterpiece shelf, to be honest. I love the way that this robot mode looks, and probably it's going to stay in robot mode. I also like the paint here. Some nice paint apps here. Nice Autobot logo. It's tampoed. It's not a sticker. Thank God it's not a sticker. They've been in the habit of giving us stickers and making us apply it ourselves, and I don't appreciate that. I like when they put the tampos on themselves, and this still fits in just like it did in tape tech mode. You still eject it, pull it out. I will be getting the Rewind figure. It hasn't arrived yet. It's actually still in pre-order. This guy is still on pre-order too, and from some places. I don't know how I was able to get it earlier. I got it from eBay. I was looking at the Chosen Prime, and the Chosen Prime had this figure, but it was on pre-order. So I don't know if the retailers just didn't get it quick enough, but that's why I decided to make this review, because I know some of the pre-orders are out. Like TF Source is out of these. Their pre-orders sold out. But really great paint, great detail. Love the way it looks, every angle. Yeah, impressed. So we're going to take a quick look at the base mode. I don't really want to spend a lot of time on it because I don't have a need for it. I'm not going to use it, but for those that are Titan Master people, you can appreciate it a little bit more than I can. I have no plan to connect this up with Titan's Return, Fortress Maximus. Fortress Maximus is just going to stand on his own in robot mode. So this guy is not going to connect, but for the sake of being complete, I will do the base mode review next, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, we're back from transforming this into base mode. I honestly thought I wouldn't care for this, but it's actually kind of cool. You know, I've never seen Blaster in a base mode, but it really is cool. I wanted to show these pieces here. So they just tab in here. They're just two little nubs that you got to get it on. Actually, I don't know which side goes on which. I'm wondering if it matters. Looks like it does matter. So probably want to get the right side on the right one here. And looking at the instructions, it does look like it goes like this. So you just kind of tab it in here. I don't know why they didn't attach these prior to shipping, but for whatever reason they don't put it on there. Maybe because some people don't need it or don't want it, but I don't know. I really don't know why you wouldn't attach that. So now you got those extra little ramps. And I believe this is what attaches to the Fortress Maximus base mode. But all in all, it's actually pretty cool, you know. And they do tell you to angle these back, but I think it actually might look better as a tower with a gun coming out of it. And you can also move these kind of on any angle, so you can shoot from, you know, anybody coming from different angles. I'll make my laser sign. I'll shoot people. So yeah, I mean, it is cool. I'm impressed by the design. You know, they thought through a really nice robot mode, a really nice deck mode, and a base mode that wasn't necessary, but they got it in there. I believe you also have this here, which, let's figure out how this goes. I don't know if it actually goes on it or not. It doesn't look like it does. Oh yeah, it does. I'm sorry. So you're supposed to take this thing here and mount it on top of the whole thing. So there's two little two little slots. I guess it's supposed to fit into those. Okay, yeah, so it's got indentations to fit the handle. So you're supposed to attach it right to the handle. There you go. So that's pretty cool. And you can have the guy sit there and kind of control the whole thing. Oh, his head's backwards. God, I can't remember this guy's name. Twincast. He reminds me of Twincast. I think he is Twincast. So you got Twincast in there, and then he can control the gun. And that's kind of cool. I like that. You can also have him... There's little peg ports on this thing, so you can kind of stick in places. All of the headmasters have these little peg holes, and you can kind of stick them on the base in different places, although this one doesn't want to seem to go. There we go. This is not that secure. This is actually the first thing I've found that's not that secure. But I prefer to have him controlling the whole thing, sitting in the cockpit. But yeah, there you go. This is base mode, and I think it's really good. I'm really impressed with what Takara has done. I mean, Hasbro did the original. I didn't even quite like the colors. This is a little different here too from the Hasbro version. You've got this, I believe it's Japanese, but then there's a Autobot logo here, which is tampoed. Very, very nicely done. Just like this one. It's a professional quality. That's what this thing is. Why this thing is impressing me so much. You don't have the cheap things that you find on a lot of Hasbro figures, things that are just cheap, like stickers, or I just feel like they did a good job with this guy. So that's it, guys. That is the Takara LG-27 blaster. The next video is going to be our Transformers news for September. That'll be coming out the first week of October. We're also getting the Transformers Takara Masterpiece Inferno. I believe that's coming in November, but don't quote me on that. I think it's November. So we're getting that one. I'm also getting Rewind, which goes with this guy. Unfortunately, I didn't get it in time. This came first, so I will review Rewind, and I will show him going into the chest. One other thing I wanted to talk about was, does he fit classic cassettes? This is Masterpiece Laserbeak, but it's the same size as the G1 cassettes. So the question is, does it fit? Yeah, it fits, but it's kind of stupid because it doesn't eject. You know, it doesn't come popping out. And if you put it in the wrong way, well, I guess you can't really put it in the wrong way. It just sort of sits in there, doesn't really do anything. So you could put other cassettes in there if you wanted to, but it doesn't really have the same mechanism as Soundwave. I keep saying Soundwave. the eject mechanism that he has. But yeah, that's it. So we will review that Takara figure next. Also, I'm looking to get the Bad Cube Sun Surge. I think that's what it was. Because my Omnigonics, it was just too loose, and I really didn't like it anymore. I ended up selling that figure, so I don't have a Sunstreaker anymore, a Masterpiece Sunstreaker. So I may be getting the Bad Cube Sunstreaker, although I thought I saw a TFC Toys or a Fan Toys release of Sunstreaker coming out, potentially. If that happens, I may be picking that one up instead, because I just don't think Bad Cube is a little too complicated for me. But if somebody else makes it, I think I'm going to get that and have my Masterpiece Sunstreaker, because it doesn't look like Takara cares anymore. I don't think they're going to make a Sunstreaker. They already made their Lamborghini mold. They're not going to make a second Lamborghini mold. It's very unlikely that they'll do that. I think they're more likely to work on some of these other figures, like the Hoist and I forgot his partner character. But it's very likely they're going to make Hoist and Trailbreaker, because all these third-party companies are making Hoist and Trailbreaker. And every time that happens, Takara comes swooping in and says, we're announcing our new whatever, that exact same figure. Same thing with Masterpiece Megatron. It looks like a Masterpiece Megatron is coming out right at the heels of the release for DX9, Mitron, and the Make Toys, Despotron. So I feel like they're just tracking what the others are doing, and to kind of spoil it, they release their own. So I have a really strong suspicion that we're going to get a Masterpiece Hoist and Trailbreaker, which would be awesome. I also saw a rumor of a Masterpiece Jazz, which everybody has been waiting for forever. So if that comes out, man, I'll be really psyched, and definitely will review that guy. All right, guys, leave me any comments or questions, and please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.